Miss Gail is still telling her story, so let's get into it.
Good morning, y'all. It is January 29th, which is a significant day for me because the date would have been my 28th wedding anniversary. But, life goes on and we're still going to make it a great day. But I told you all yesterday that there were some things I wanted to share once I got further down with this divorce. But, just kind of keep some things in the wrap until that time. But I see where my husband's mistress has gone on to another site, I guess, to explain parts of her side of the story or his side of the story and all that kind of stuff. So I was like, I want to come on here and be completely transparent and truthful with you guys because I have nothing to hide. I don't live my life like that, I've not always been perfect. Any of that kind of stuff, not a saint. But the marriage to him, I never cheated, was never, did any of that kind of stuff. Just tried to be the perfect wife as I could be for him. So I see where she's gone on somebody's site and to say that that my husband and I were separated for 2 years, I guess before they hooked up or something like that. But that's not true. They met each other in October of um, 2019, slept together 8 days later because 8 days later because I have the receipts for that, and I didn't find out about any of this stuff until October 22nd, of 2022. No, I'm sorry, October 2022. I'm sorry, guys, but anyway, she was telling that that we had been living apart for that long. No, I've been living apart from my husband since November of 2022, and that was after I found out everything about them. And in the subsequent weeks, I was telling you all, I found out a whole lot more about him, her, Sheila, Betty, Cassandra, Blessed, who else? It's a bunch of them, y'all. I can't even go through the whole damn list because it would be like, it's like a DMX song, God bless it. So, but I wanted to be completely transparent with you all. My husband saw me at an Atlanta Hawks basketball game back in 1995. Gave one of my girlfriends his number and told her he thought I was cute and to have me to call him. I didn't call him right away, but maybe like 6 weeks later, I called her to make sure. Before I called him, I was like, hey, girl, now I was gonna call this dude. He not married, is he? And she was like, no, girl, he not married. Called him. He all excited. He sets up a date for us like a day or two later. I go to meet him. I walk in and I see something shiny on his hand. So as soon as he said his name, I was like, is that a fashion statement on your finger? Because I was like, I know that's not a wedding ring because I don't deal with married men. And I was like, I said, and I asked my girlfriend, were you married? He was like, oh, I never told her that I wasn't married, but, my wife and I are having problems. And, I just wanted to meet you as a friend. And I was like, every man in Atlanta having problems with his wife. I was like, ain't nobody gonna fall for that damn okey doke. Like, that's just like the standard line. He was like, well, no, he started reading off his resume and, like he's the president of this company and he saw me and he just thought I was a nice looking girl and he wanted to get to know me. So by this time I'm pissed, y'all, because I had driven around there from Decatur at the time to Buckhead. I had like $5 till payday. That was 3 days away. No damn gas in my car and I was hungry. So, and all I had at the house was oodles and noodles. So he was like, you can eat dinner because I was about to leave. And I was like, oh, I'm going to eat. I said, I'm going to eat because I'm hungry. And, because you've been wasting my time for coming around here. But I was like, I'm going to eat. I said, and then I'm going home and that's going to be the end of this. So at the end of the night, he was like, well, it was nice meeting you and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, well, nice meeting you too, have a happy life. And he was like, well, what if I wasn't married? And I was like, I don't know. I said, I can't answer that. I said, whether you were married. I don't know. I was like, I don't know you. And, this is not how I get down. So I left. Next day, he sends a big bouquet of flowers. So everybody at my job was like, they knew I had a date that night. They were like, did you give him some? I was like, no. Like, hell no, I didn't give him none. For some flowers, I was like, hell no. So he calls and was like, I just thought, we had a nice evening and I'd like to get to know you better or whatever. And I was like, dude, you are married. And he was like, well, you were having issues. And I was like, well, maybe if you paid your wife some attention, maybe you all wouldn't. You wouldn't. So didn't matter. He started sending flowers. When I tell you, y'all, he was sending flowers like damn near every day. My office looked like a morgue. I promise you, it looked like a morgue. It smelled like a morgue with all them flowers up in there. So I told him, I was like, dude, we cannot do this. So he was like, well, we could go out as friends sometime and have dinner. So I was like, okay. So after the fourth time I went out with him, I was like, you know what? I said, this is not right. I was like, if your wife don't know you out with me, this is not right. So I was like, not doing this anymore. So he was like, no, like, no, because I'm going to file for divorce. So I was like, until you file for divorce, don't reach out to me, you know? And I was like, and I can't tell you I'm going to be here or not. I can't do that. So next day he calls and was like, oh, you a challenge. I'm going to get you, like, you know, I'm going to marry you. You're the girl for me. Like, you work hard. You're a single mom. You're doing your thing, you know, and you're going to be the girl for me. And I was like, dude, let it go. So fast forward this story. Of course, he starts to wear me down. He's sending gifts and sending me all these little nice, sweet things. And this is one of his little things that he would do. I'm finding out this is how he get all his women, because what's her name ain't the only one. It's been plenty. She just the face of the franchise right now. I'm finding out he got a thing for girls that are 25, 30. That's about the oldest he like him. And he damn near about to be 64 years old. But anyway, I digress. So anyway, he was like, so he gets me a pair of diamond earrings. I was like, this is my token to you, to prove to you that I'm serious. I'm ending this marriage because you're the one for me. And she and I, we ain't hitting on none, all of that kind of stuff, right? So I'm like, okay, so I'm young and all that. I'm believing this bullshit. So after that, we started to date kind of like right around the time. I think he filed for divorce like right around that time. So after that, I'm thinking everything cool. So we go on this trip to New Orleans, first year of the Essence Festival. He was like, let me take you to the Essence Festival. And I'm like, okay. So we go, we kicking it, having a good time. Phone rings in a hotel room. I think I picked it up, and I don't know if somebody said something or not, but it was the first flash click on. They hung up. So he comes in the room, the phone rings again, and then I hear him having this conversation with someone that didn't sound like that. That this relationship was over or whatever. So of course I'm pissed off. So I tear his ass up, and he was like, "No," and I told her I want a divorce. I hadn't filed yet, but I'm about to file. So I'm furious, y'all, because I'm like, God damn it, here I go again. They got up and did some bullshit with this kind of stuff. So anyway, he does file. I want to say like in the next week or two. So I was like, okay, well, I'm free to, date you right now, but I'm still going to be respectful and all that. 'Cause, you still got your divorce and stuff going. So their divorce kind of went fairly quickly. I think he filed in I don't even know. It was like the fall, but they were divorced by that December. So I'm like, okay, then. So in the interim, of course, I'm saying full transparency here, before the divorce was final, he and I did date. We started dating, and he gave me those earrings, like I said, as a sign and token of his, like, oh, this is my devotion to you. Like, you're going to be the one. So, of course, I'm thinking I'm the one with my little dumb self. So, okay. All right. So, yeah. So that's what I'm just here to let you all know that, yeah, I started seeing him before the divorce was final. But at no time did I go in, try to destroy his marriage, do any of that. And actually, before we started kicking it like that, I was encouraging him to try to work it out with his wife. I did. I was trying to encourage him to work it out with her. I was like, you have 2 young children. Those children are 2 and 4. You should try to work it out. He was like, ain't no working out. Ain't no going back. She depressed from having the last baby. She won't sleep with me and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, oh, that's terrible. He was like, yeah, she just been really depressed or whatever. Right. But I'm going to come back to that later on. Another story time, but because it's real significant, this little lie he told. So one of the other truth or a half truth that Sabrina was saying was that what else did she say? Oh, the airport situation. So she said she didn't get anything kicked off at the airport because she didn't want to I guess get in trouble or some shit like that. So I was like, okay. She was like, oh, she was talking trash about me. And I was like, well, technically I was talking trash to my husband. And I guess some of it, when you kick a can, some of the trash spill over on you. That's just kind of how it is. So, she was like, and I got her, she followed us onto the airplane. I was like, girl, ain't nobody followed nobody on no damn airplane. I had a ticket. We all happened to be on the same flight heading to Dallas because he and I used to live in Dallas. Sorry about that, y'all. He and I used to live in Dallas, and I was going over to see some friends. So we're on the plane, and I get a text from my girlfriend because I knew it was going to be cold in Dallas like 2 weeks ago. And I was like, I know it's going to be cold, but I'm going to head over, and I'm not going to stay long. And I was like, long as it doesn't snow. So she sent a text message while I was on the plane, said 100% chance of snow that night in Dallas. So the flight attendant came and was like, well, this lady's saying that you said some things to her. And I was like, I was talking to my husband, and, maybe I did say some stuff, but I was talking to my husband. So anyway, when I see that text message come through, y'all, I had decided anyway. I told the flight attendant, I was like, I gotta get off this plane. I said, can I get off? Because I don't want to. Hey, y'all, I'm gonna address this part about the start of my relationship with my husband, and I'm gonna be done. And you can say what you want to say, do what you want to do. I mean, it is what it is, and that was almost 30 years ago. But when I was introduced to him, I was told he was not married. Only to find out later that he was. So I told him then that I did not deal with married men and that I didn't want to do anything to some other woman that I didn't want done to me. And I meant that, and I still hold to that. So, of course, he gave me the stand that, we've been having problems and all that kind of stuff. And whenever I would talk to him, I would tell him, he would try to be hitting on me, but I would knock it right down because I wasn't attracted to him. My husband was overweight, morbidly obese, actually. But he was a nice guy. But when I would talk to him, I would encourage him to stay with his wife and kids. And I thought he thought that was the oddest thing, but that's what I would do. I would encourage him because I didn't like him like that. And I was like, you're married, so this ain't going anywhere anyway. So he kept asking me like, what if I was divorced because she and I having problems and all of that? And I was like, well, if that's the case, you need to get your problem handled. I said, I can't even think about ever even dating you or doing any of that because you're still married. So lo and behold, he tells me that he's going to divorce her. He had started his process and that, he wanted me to be his girl and all that kind of stuff. Actually gave me some diamond earrings to let me know. He was like, this is to let you know that I'm super duper serious about this thing. So I was like, well, okay then, because during this whole time, we had no intimate relationship or any of that for like 3 months. Because actually I was calling him Al Bundy. And he didn't even know why I was calling him that. Because he was like, why you always call me Al Bundy? And I was like, because you married with children and I don't mess with Al Bundys or whatever, right? So once he started his divorce proceedings, he asked me would I date him. So I did. So there may be some fault there where I started dating him before his actual divorce was final. But I made sure that he had filed divorce because that's what he told me. So we did take a trip to the Essence Music Festival the first year. And a phone call came in. And, I'm assuming that it was his wife. But the way he responded to the call let me know that, basically something was up. And that he probably had lied to me. So when we get off the phone, I was like, I thought you filed for divorce. Like, why was that conversation going that way? He didn't really have too much to say. But he was like, well, no, I talked about it, but I was going to file. I'm still doing some reach out. I'm filing when I get back and all that kind of stuff. So, of course, I was furious because I was like, you've lied to me. Like, why would you, tell a lie like that? The only reason I came with you on this trip was because you told me you had filed and all that kind of stuff. And I'm thinking everything kosher with them and that I didn't have anything to do with that. Because he told me in the beginning, like, no, she and I having issues. And if I file for divorce, it has absolutely nothing to do with you. So I was like, well, okay, then. So, like I said, I wasn't attracted to him at first. But he was a really nice guy, really nice guy. He was a professional guy, was president of a company and all that kind of stuff. But I had my own thing. I was working. I was a single mom doing my own little thing. So I didn't really need him for anything. But the only thing that I'll say about that was, yeah, I did start dating him after he filed for divorce. And I think from the time I met him to the time he divorced was like a 10-month span. So those first 3 months, I didn't say anything to him, like romantically, because I was not attracted to him. And that is for real. If you see the picture of him before, you'll know why, but he was a nice guy. So I'm just saying. But I'll say that, maybe me dating him before the divorce was final was wrong. And I'll take accountability for that. But I can't go back, 30 years now and correct that. I'm just trying to move forward and do what's right. But, Miss Thing is trying to paint this narrative like, oh, she was doing the same thing. Not the same thing at all, because my whole time I was encouraging him to stay with his people. She did not. I have the text messages between them from the day they met to, all the things that he was telling her, the things she was telling him and telling him that she didn't have anything and that she left her family with just the clothes on her back and, just this little sob story for him. So I guess he went with it. But like I said, this was originally about me posting a video of me seeing them for the first time in the airport. So I ain't judging her. I ain't going to judge him. Like I said, I'm not, but it ain't like I willfully went out and decided like I'm going to go and destroy his family. It was nothing like that. So a lot of us were deceived. A whole bunch of us were deceived. So that is what he has done. That's what he continues to do. So you know, I'm gonna let it be what it is. And like I said, once we get further down the road in this process, I can share some things. I don't know how to share the receipts on here. I thought you could only do videos. So anybody that knows how you can post pictures and all of that of the text messages, I'll show you that I ain't got no lie to tell. And the whole time, I never talked to my husband's former wife. You know, the only conversation we ever had was when she would bring the kids over and stuff like that. But she never said anything to me about me being the cause. But I did find this out, that after she found out that he and I was breaking up, she told someone that she was like, oh, she finally found out after all these years. Like, she finally found out who he really is. You know, because I think I mentioned in the earlier video about him telling me about how she was not having any kind of intimate relationship with him. And he thought it was because she was depressed and, you know, had some postpartum and all of that. Turns out, word got back to me. She was like, I wasn't depressed, or I didn't have postpartum either. It was because I was tired of being in the doctor's office because he kept giving me stuff. So, you know, I'm going to just leave it there, guys. And like I said, once all this is over, I'll come back and give you plenty of details. So old girl can keep telling all the stories she wants, but, you know, they hanging, they doing their thing. I just got a message from a woman this morning who saw them out in Dallas last night at Trulux and said that, you know, old girl got pregnant by her husband some years ago while she lived in California. So she was like, she's all about the money. So, and she is. And I'm telling you, y'all, yeah, I've lived a privileged life, but I've earned everything I've got here in this household. When he was sick, when he was doing all his other stuff, when he had to get shit wiped off of him, she wasn't here. I was wiping shit, cleaning up vomit, and all the things that a wife would do. So for that, for better or worse, yeah, I stuck in between all of that. So, like I said, I'm going to end this right here. You can say what you want, judge how you want, but it's all good. I'm going to be good in the end. I was just sharing and hoping that my story would empower someone else to not be embarrassed, to stand up on your own, you know, but it is what it is, and I'm living for today. Hope y'all have a good one. Hey, y'all, this is my last video for today. No one likes being called a liar, and particularly me. So I have not lied to you all. I have no reason to deceive you. Like I said, I didn't know the situation, the whole situation with he and his former wife, but I'm sure she probably went through the same thing I went through, but she never let me know that, and I only could go by the stories that he was telling me about them having issues and all that kind of stuff. And I'm sure they did because, you know, based on her saying why she wouldn't sleep with him. But, you know, in all fairness and honesty to me, everybody who knew me back then and knew us, during that time, they knew the story. He would tell them how hard I was. He was like, she was the meanest girl I've ever met. Because he was like, for the first 3 months, you couldn't even get a kiss from her. And he tells that story, and I'm sure it's on video from one of my birthday parties. So he knew who I was and how I was from the very beginning. So all this narrative they're trying to paint now, like, it wasn't like that at all. So, and I do have folks who will say that's exactly how it was. She told us she was not attracted to him, and not just because he was overweight. It just wasn't attracted to him, period. You know, and he had a great job and all that. I was not attracted to him, and that didn't faze me because I was like, I just was not. And as I got to know him, I was like, okay, he a nice guy. So I didn't use his size and the way he looked or anything like that against him. So I just felt he was a really sweet guy. But, you know, y'all also ought to know that old girl is lying. And this ain't really about her, that she's lying, because can't nobody just walk up in the Delta Sky Club. Can't nobody just walk up on a plane, you know? So that's just some, you know, bullshit she putting out there. And she also told you all about the Europe thing. Remember I was telling y'all the story about when the day I found out everything, that he was coming from a business trip. It actually wasn't a business trip. It was him coming back from her birthday trip from Europe. I think they went to Paris, to Amsterdam, Tuscany, and somewhere else. But he told me that he was on a business trip, and I have all the text messages to prove it. And I wish I knew how to upload some of this shit on here as the pictures, because I got proof. And I got proof too that she knew that he was married and how she encouraged him to leave. But I might need them for court, y'all. But anything that I think I don't need for court, I'll post it, because I don't have any reason to lie. So I'm just letting y'all know, you know. So if I owe anybody an apology, it might be his former wife, but that was, I would owe it. Oh, I don't mind, you know, giving her an apology, but that was based on the lies that he told me. And not saying that he has not told this girl the same lies, but I'm going to be accountable for my stuff. She not trying to be accountable for any of hers, but I'm just going to keep it 100 with you, y'all. So, like I said, this is the last one, but I want to be clear with y'all. If y'all got any questions for me, hit me up in my mailbox, and if I can hit you back, I will. Y'all have a good day. Thanks. Bye.
If you would like to continue to hear the story, don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and turn on the notification.